Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to BB's Customs. I'm Rich, and today we're going to be trying to sort out the fender on the Virago. Okay, so as I said in the previous little update on this rear fender is really wobbly, it's rusted through, it needs to go. So what we're going to do first is just take all of this off, assess the damage, and then figure out how I'm going to put the new fender on. Okay, so here you can really see the extent of the damage. I mean, this is totally shot. There was no way I could re-weld any of that. That's all rotten all the way through. So replacing this was probably the best option. Let me quickly get the replacement fender and I'll show you what it is we're going to be working with. Right, so with the fender off, I mean, more than a little of me wants to just cut this off here and have this as just an open rear wheel, because I think they look really cool like that, but that's not what this bike's going to become. So we've got just a very rough and ready, sort of cheap off of eBay rear fender, which I need to try and fit in there like that. It doesn't look like it's going to be that difficult to do. What we are going to have is a slight little issue getting the bolts lined up in here and attaching it to the second mudguard in here, because the old one has got this flat section here which goes into a plastic inner mudguard just in there. It just sort of slots in. So obviously the profile of the new one, being much more rounded, won't fit in there. So we'll have to think of a clever way to do that. I mean, it's pretty well secured. I might get away with just not doing it. I'm not concerned about cutting bits off of this either, so we can have a little bit of a play and see how it goes. I mean, it's going to give a huge gap under the tyre, under the fender, sorry, but there's not really much I can do about that. Yeah, never mind. Ideally, what I would love to do would be to chop this off and have that sort of like that instead, and mount it direct to the swing arm to make it much more sort of, I don't know, kind of Harley-ish, I suppose, a bit more aggressive looking. But oh, do I just bite the bullet and do that? The thing is, if I do that, I'd have to think of a way to redo the lights and everything else that goes with it. So I think I'll forget that for now. Yeah, I'll forget that for now. We'll do that later on. For now, we just want to get this up onto here. Now, let's see what we got on here. I need to fit the number plate on. I wonder if I can fit the light cluster on as well. That's actually very rounded. Oh, it may work. I may get that on as well. We'll have a look. We'll take all of this off and see if we can get that onto the new fender. Okay, so we've got the new fender. Oops, drop that, put that back up there. And we've got the rear light and the number plate from the old one. Now, luckily, the curve of this isn't too far off of what the original one was. We've got this nice rubber lip around here, which has enough give in it that we can get that. Obviously you'd have to put a hole in for this to go through, but that will sit on there like quite nicely, I think. So we can bolt that onto there. And then this has also got a curve in this bracket on here, and that sits nicely on there as well. So it's not going to be too much to get this, well, to get the lighting and everything on, which is good. We like that. Just got to mark it out, pop some holes in it. The indicators, on the other hand, they're going to be sort of pointing that way, which I don't really like. So I'm going to have to I'm going to have to make some brackets to put the indicators back on. But we can do that. That's not a massive issue. Let me what am I trying to say? We'll mark this out. We'll get that. No, we won't. We'll leave those off for now. We'll mark this out and see if we can get this mounted nicely on the bike first, and then we're worried about everything else afterwards. Okay, so the bolts I'm going to use, I've just got some M8 hex bolts here. I've got some decent spacers which I actually made up for another job, but they'll be perfect for this, just to space that off of there a little to try and lower the mudguard down. So we're going to put that through there, that under there, mudguard through there. Does help if you put the mudguard on the right way around. That. That. Same on the other side, and then we'll bolt that down. Let's get, oh actually no, I won't do that. I won't use the steel ones. I'm going to use these instead. So again, going into my little plumber's kit, these are just some washers for tap fittings. I drilled these holes out a bit, get the bolts through, and then that'll have a bit of a cushion effect between the mudguard and the underside of this. So watch your fingers. Like that. One. So the reason for using rubber, like I said, is also it's a bit of an anti-vibration as well. Because if you bolt something solid and then have it go up and down a bumpy road for a few 100,000 miles, Not that this bike's probably going to be here for that long, but the vibration in the road would have a tendency to slacken off the bolts and things. So having a rubber spacer in there acts as a bit of a shock absorber. Right. Nuts. Okay, so that is actually on there really well. What I should do now is, if I bring you around here, just pop you there. Can you see? So now these holes here are threaded. So what I shall do is pop a little hole through there into this, screw up from the back into these, and then that will hold that nice and secure, and then that's not going anywhere. Actually, we're going to do another change of plan, and I'm going to drill a hole straight through the centre of that, because I don't think this needs two holes to hold it on, because that's incredibly strong up here. So we're going to drill a hole straight through the centre of this and just put another M8 bolt straight through there with a nut on the end, and then that will be perfect for holding that all together. Straight through there. On. Which went on a lot easier than I thought it would, to be fair. Now I know there's going to be a lot of people shouting at the screen now going, that looks awful, look at how big this gap is. I agree with you. I know it's not the best looking thing in the world, but you need to remember this is just my daily run around. It's a hack. I use it all year round in all weathers. So I've got plans for this bike. This will become a future project, but for now it's just a case of keeping it on the road, and this is just how you can do it without having to spend a fortune. Because to replace an original one like this, the cheapest I could find these were in excess of £100 on eBay. This was 25, so it's going to be coming back off again. All of this is going to be disappearing at some point, so if it looks a little bit rough and ready now, I'm not that fussed. If it does the job and stops me getting sprayed, then I'm alright with that. What I need to do now is figure out how I'm going to put the indicators on. Looking at it, I think there might actually be enough room in there. If I put this seat back on, where does that go? That goes on there, like that. I've got enough room here and here to pop some holes in so that we can have the indicators going through there, which is nice. I like that. That's a bit lucky. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, yes, let's do that. Okay, so in order to get these three holes and the electrical hole in the right position on the fender, what I'm going to do is just take this little bracket out, which hopefully should just pop out, and then I can use it as a template to mark out where my holes need to be. if it comes out. Oh, look at that. Just like that. Right, so the old one, in the old Fender, had these little, what to zoom you in, get that there, there, right, had these little grommets in through the fender holes, and then it had a little metal spacer which goes in there like that. So we need to figure out how I'm going to make a hole big enough to put that in, so that we can use the same fitting screws. Probably going to be a case of putting the biggest drill I've got in and then wiggle it around until that goes in. So avert your eyes if you're offended by such things, but that's probably how it's going to have to be. Ta-da! And then that pushes into there. Lovely. Now, I know that that is not an accurate way of doing things. I know that it's a little, it's very bodgy really, but needs must. And as I said before, you know, this is just a rough and ready quick fix job. What it does tell me is that I need to get myself some bigger drills, or maybe even a nice set of hole saws. A sheet metal taper drill would be nice. If I got one of them, then this wouldn't be a problem. But we'll make do with what we've got. As long as you're careful with it, it's not a problem. We should be all good. Okay, so mudguard's on, backlight's back on, indicators on. I've popped a small hole in here so that the lead from the light can come back up into here and plug back into the original fitting, so that's all plugged in now. The wire is still loose under here for now, but I'm going to just get some sticky back bits to put that up in there. The proper way to do things obviously would be to weld a little tab in and just cable tie it all up, but it's only temporary, it's only got to last a little bit, so I've got some good double-sided like Gorilla Tape sort of stuff, which will hold that in with the cable tie fitting on there. So all we got to do now is pop some holes either side of this to put the indicators in, and then we're done. Okay, so there we go. One replaced fender, that's ready for the bin. That doesn't look too bad. At a glance, as I said before, I don't think anyone's actually going to notice, but there we go. That's how you replace a genuine Fender for a universal one. The one thing to make sure you need to do if you're going to buy a universal anything is just check the sizes. Most places will tell you how big something is. The width of this was 7 inches. Anything less than that, it's not going to fit. Anything more than that, it's not going to fit. So you just need to make sure that you get the rough measurements right, and if you're close, you can normally make it go together how you want it to. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. I hope you found what I've done informative. If you're stuck with anything like that, then fingers crossed it'll help you out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.